Great to see everybody. Those of you that know me, I'm not a man of few words, so get settled in. No, it is a great honor to be able to previously get to induct one of my buddies, Dave Rodley, into the Hall of Fame, and now Monte. And I've been fortunate to have a lot of great friends at VHS. I mean, these crowds are just unbelievable, and I can understand how much Dew Point means to you. Nick, it's kind of everybody feels the same. But I've been fortunate with these friends, and then there's sort of another level of friends, at least in my personal Hall of Fame, and that's the buddy level. So you'll have to pre-apologize that sometimes I'll refer to Monte as my buddy. My friends in college would make fun of me, almost like it was Monte's first name. It's my buddy Monte, my buddy Dave. But that's a whole nother level than how lucky we are to have everybody. It's the camaraderie on this team that develops buddies. It's a whole nother level. And I had a April's Fool's joke I was going to play on Monte here, but I don't have the guts to do it. But I was going to ask him to come up right now, as if I had no understanding of his stats, and then ask him to sit back down. So let's just pretend I did. And I was debating between another one where we talked about his track feats. Which, believe it or not, said it would have been a good joke, wouldn't it? We got some laughs over there. You're going to be surprised. But I was going to start in on his track feats and have Biggin come up and whisper in my ear like, he's getting inducted for the basketball stuff. Oops. April Fools. So let's talk about his track. And maybe some of you don't know this, but Monte, how tall are you?
6'3".
6'3". I'm sure it said 6'4" in the program.
It did.
Okay. But he threw his 185-pound body over a bar 6 foot 6 inches tall. So that was quite a feat. And I looked up the high school high jump results this past year for Class 1A and 2A. And he would have gotten 4th and 5th respectively. Now, 1986 was a great year for mullets, parachute pants, and weird music. But it was a bad year for 6'6" high jump. Because that would have, as I said, placed 4th and 5th. And it's nothing to sneeze at that he got 9th that year. But there must have been some darn good jumps that year. Ridiculous. But what does this tell us about Monte? I mean, we've got we know his basketball accomplishments, but I'm going to get to those in a second. But when he puts his mind to something, he gives it his all. And because it took some serious determination, hard work, and practice, and fine-tuning of technique to get a 6'3/4" body over that bar, I think it's one of the most telling aspects about him, is that when he had to do his best, he did. And at the state track meet is when you want to do your best. And 9th place was his best, and it was quite a feat. There was never any choking or being overcome by stress with him. He just does it. And he's quite focused. And we'll talk about a lot of his focus here, but I'll give you an example of some of his focus. That on some occasions, when Monte would be driving to school, he'd be very focused on going to school. But some days he was supposed to pick me up. And he'd be so focused on getting to school, he would forget it. And it wasn't because I wasn't anticipating it after it happened over and over. I would be running out to the street to try to get in front of his car so he wouldn't forget it. Big car, big Merc. I could hear it coming down the road. But he had quite a bit of focus and determination. Let's get to the basketball. Talk about determination. In junior high, Monte was committed to shooting 100 shots. Is that the right number every night?
Probably more than
Am I
that.
making this up? It didn't exist?
It was more than that.
It's more than that. All right. Way 1,000 million. Nick is way more than whatever you do. Way more. He had one thing on you though, he didn't really care who was watching. And he did it every night. So sometimes I would come over and eat his mom's Coalhouse cookies. And And so probably Jill and I would be sitting on the couch, and I'd be in a sugar coma. And I'd look out and see the light in his backyard and knew what he was up to. And that determination took us to, was it the small school class championship in junior high.
It's Class L, large.
Class L, we were the big ones.
We were big ones.
Sucks to get old. Yeah. So we were large. And then on to high school, when most of us couldn't get out of bed, Monte would come to the school in the morning and practice. And this resulted into some pretty phenomenal things, including in his freshman year, he was Southern Illinois Freshman of the Year. And he was 4-time All-Tournament in the Midwinter Classic. So that meant he was on it his freshman year as well. So it sounds like we had some good records there with Mr. Cruz having, I think, scored quite a bit of points there as well. And Monte averaged 26 points a game as a sophomore, 24 as a junior, 24 as a senior. So what does this tell us about Monte? Did he get lazy the last 2 years? No, I don't think so. But he was capable of passing the ball. And we had some good teams those years. So I want to make sure that everybody remembers Monte was not a selfish player. He was a great teammate. And it was a lot of fun to play with him. But when we needed him, he made it happen. I mean, there's no two bones about it. When we needed him to do his best, he did his best. And I've got some great examples of it that hopefully some of you will remember. But one of my favorites is, he was the MVP of the Carbondale Holiday Tournament when we beat Pinckneyville in triple overtime. Hey, we got some Pinckneyville folks here. So let's take it easy. Now we have some good memories playing Pinckneyville. He tipped in a shot over a 6'8" player to win the game. Now, he tells me he might have used Jason Carson's shoulder. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, right? It was necessary. And probably forgotten is that we turned around and beat Marion for the overall title. Another one of my favorite memories, this is probably my favorite, is when he scored 40 points to lead us to the sectionals again against Pinckneyville. You talk about some excitement. I actually have this on video, and it's actually in my pocket, if anybody wants to see it tonight. We had some pretty good fun after these games. Now, in fairness to Pinckneyville, they beat us the other 2 times that season. But what does this say about Monte again? When we needed him to do his best, he did it. 40 points in the sectional. And again, man, it was fun. And quite frankly, to kind of fit with tonight's speech about Monte being the man when you needed him to be, in that video, we were having this same discussion back then, because I was so proud of my buddy for being the man again and doing his best and getting us through it. So he took us to 2 super sectionals back to back. Now on to his overall stats. He is still 43rd in the history of Illinois basketball with a career total points of 2,358, which I got to go with him when he was inducted into the Illinois High School Hall of Fame. IBCA, right? So don't forget everything. And I didn't have that one written down. And he's still number 1 at New Coin. And as we can see by the folks here tonight, that's quite a feat. And this was before the three-pointer. So who knows what could have happened.
Wouldn't have got the ball.
Wouldn't have got the ball, maybe so. We had a pretty competitive team. And another fond memory of is when he did break the record, and they were nice enough to stop the game, and Monte took the game ball over to his dad, and what a great memory that is. Now, post-high school, Monte was given a Division I scholarship to go to the University of Northern Iowa. And I remember somehow getting to watch a game on TV in my dorm room and bringing all my friends in to watch my buddy on TV. And they announced him as my buddy on there. My buddy Cooner. Freshman player of the game at some point. I don't know if it was that game, but I do recall him doing well, and I was so proud. Which made it a little hard to understand, because we know Monte to be such an awesome basketball player, and then he goes to UNI and he has these great games. But Monte's a competitor. And luckily, he had a coach that was honest with him and knew he wanted to play. So he released him and he transferred to SIU, which was cool because, has anybody been to Northern Ireland? It's cold. It's cold. And too far away. So no big deal there. Some of his highlights of his SIU career is that he averaged over 20 points per game in his last 5 games of his senior year. And my favorite story, which talk about getting old, I guess I've told this story so much that I actually think I was there, but I wasn't. But it's in my mind's eye. It's against McKendree, he scored 38 points. And this was after he only came in the game the last 10 minutes of the first half. So it was basically 3/4 of a game. And at that time, he set a single game high 3-pointer record with 7, or 21 points. And this is the one that I can swear to goodness it's in my mind. He was on a fast break, and no one between him and the basket during this game. And he stopped and popped a 3-pointer instead of driving to the basket. So in my mind, I can see, coaches in here, right? Coach Kraft. I mean, you can see the coach standing up probably as Monte's getting ready to pop this 3 and just has to sit back down when it swishes through the net. That's being hot that night, man.
I don't know if that's true or not. That's
well, that's a dang good story.
Great story.
Another one of the funniest memories I have is, this one is true. I was there. We were at Eastern, and the crowd was starting to kind of get on Monte because he liked to wear his socks really high, like old school basketball players. So as they were chanting something like old school or something, Monte ran by the student section flinging his mullet in the air. And he pulled both socks up as he went by, and that really got the student section going.
I don't remember.
Must have been a close game, man. Oh, shoot. Good memories, man. It's hard. Now here's a feat that I bet not many other basketball players have done, and you have to correct me if I'm wrong, Monte. But his last year of basketball at SIU, he was enrolled as a grad student getting his MBA, which is true, right? Got that. I don't believe there's many college basketball players getting their MBA their last year that they're playing, and I know none of them else are doing it at Evansville at the time. So SIU turned out pretty well, and probably his best accomplishment is that he came home with a beautiful wife, Christy. And that led to these 2 beautiful children down here, Jerry and David. And I'm almost done. Maybe. All right, so let's get on to today. Do you think he just kicks back and isn't a competitor? Well, you'd be wrong about Monte, but and those of you that know him, he still competes, work and home and play. He's a top producer where he works. He's a great father who's invested time in his children's activities, to the youth club, swimming Indians, to cheerleading, and by the way, he takes some pretty good pictures. And if DHS had a record for the Spartan races, he'd be in the Hall of Fame for that. He doesn't just do a race here and there. He went on for what's called the trifecta. You didn't even think I knew that, did you? The trifecta. You have to compete in the sprint, super, the beast, all in 1 year. I won't get into the details of them, but they're very long and very hard. So the only difference between junior high, when I used to watch him eating the Toll House cookies as he worked hard, is that I have to make my own Toll House cookies now. And instead of looking out the window, I watch his progress on Facebook for the Spartan races. So it's with extreme pride that I get to introduce my buddy, Monte Cooner, the competitor's competitor, the man Monte Cooner.
There's not much more to say after all that. Wow. Thank you, Pete. Wow, blew me away. That was a short version. That was a Cliff Notes version. I want to congratulate all the other inductees, the Baxter family, Stan, Larry, Alan Cruz, he was who I was shooting for. Nick was shooting for me. I was shooting for Alan. Nick, my good friend. Speaking of Nick and him out shooting in the snow, so when I moved home in '94 and got married, I had to go over to Sean and Debbie's house for something. I don't remember what it was. Driving over there, and I'll be darned if that kid wasn't out there in the snow. He's not lying, in the snow, shooting baskets. Chaw, what's going on here? He said he loves basketball. Never forgot that. Coach Martin, congratulations to you two and to the '92 team. You guys were awesome. When you guys beat Robinson in that semifinal game, I was taking pictures. I know, big surprise. I was down on the goal line, and Patrick Tolliver, by the way, is my stepbrother. His dad is my stepdad, and he made that stop on the goal line, which sealed the game. And you guys went on to state and won it. I was down on the field taking pictures for that game too. It was such a great experience. I'm so happy for you guys. Congratulations. I want to say thanks to my coaches. Coach Larry Bailey was my first coach. Coach Mike Wilson, Coach Kraft. I'm so glad you're here. Those were my head coaches. Coach Martin, Coach Cliff Davis were assistants. Coach Carnes is my track coach. He was so proud of me as a quarter miler. We need to get Rodley to tell that story. We'll tell that later at the bar. My teammates, Timmy Davis, probably threw half the passes to me of the points I scored. Dio Roy, Brian Mifflin, Fred Gant, Jim Peterson, Mark Kameen, Jerry Whitley. These are the seniors that I graduated with. Older than me, the late great Daryl Anders, who I love dearly. Barry Hirsch, Steve Merrick, Greg Wilson, Pat Day. Stacy McGuire. I got to tell the story real quick on Stacy McGuire. You guys may not know Stacy, but that's Coach Martin's nephew, right? Stacy was a year ahead of me, class of '85. So we're in the sectional semifinals at Peenyville against Waterloo Jabot, close game. Whoever wins gets to play the Breeze Modern Day Knights for the sectional championship. Breeze was undefeated. We're playing Jabot, close game. Now, I call Stacy Stack, so forgive me if I say Stack. So Stack he got in the game. Now, when you think Stacy McGuire, you don't think basketball. You think linebacker, tackler, tough football player. But he's in a basketball game. It's late. Game's tied. They foul him. Of all people, they foul Stacy McGuire. He just got in the game. He was cold. Jabot calls the timeout to ice him. We go over to the huddle, and Coach Kraft's talking to us. And I look over at Stace. The guy's about to shoot 2 free throws. The game's tied. If he makes them, we win. We may have been down one. Better story if we're down one. Let's say we're down one. Because I don't remember. But this is true. His hand was shaking. Yes. It was shaking. Yes. I thought, there's no way he's going to make these free throws. The dude stepped up there and nailed them both, and we beat Jabot. And then we beat Breeze Bonner Day, who was undefeated. Every time I see Stacy, I say, Stacy, you made 2 of the biggest free throws of my career. Thank you. So for all you guys that didn't say much, Pete and I are making up for it. Thank you for giving us the time. I have a group of friends here tonight that I graduated high school with. If you graduated with me in 1986, please stand up. Thank you. Thank you. We've been out of school the guys have been out for 31 years. The girls, maybe 5 or 10 years. That's right! I was born at night, been out last night. But they drove from near and far to be here. Dave came up from Jonesboro, Pete from St. Louis, Jane from down in Jackson, and St. Louis. They came from all over Vandalia. Thank you for being here. I have some other friends here tonight, the Fentons, the Graskowitzes. Thank you for being here. Bob and Judy Garrison came all the way from North Carolina. Judy was my 6th grade teacher. A lot of people's here, 6th grade teachers. Just have a terrific relationship with them, and I love them dearly, and thank you for being here. From the time I was in about 5th or 6th grade, I had 2 really close friends. That's Rodley and, all right, I can't look at you guys, get emotional, so I'll look over here. So they are kind of like brothers to me, and I never had a brother, and they had that role in my life. They were brothers to me. And they've both been very successful, and I'm proud of them. Peterson, the guy who's just up here talking, I know this may be surprising, he has a PhD. In civil engineering. We call him Dr. Pete. Dave's been very successful with his company. He's in pharmaceutical sales, Santa Fe of Venice, very successful, runs the whole territory. And, I mean, if Dave's getting on you to go out and sell your pharmaceuticals, would you not listen? Have you seen that guy? Seriously. No wonder he leads the company in sales. I have the greatest step-parents in the world. Joe Tolliver's over here. He's awesome. I love him to death. Love him to death. He's been married to my mom for about 30 years. He's a grandpa to my kids, and we have a great relationship, and he's a father figure to me. My stepmom, Jane, can't be here tonight. Thank you. She was married to my dad until he passed in 1993. She actually had surgery Tuesday for cancer, and she is at Barnes Hospital. I'll be up there tomorrow to see her, but she's hanging in there. She's doing good. All right. Mother. Mom's here tonight. She's my supporter, always gives me unconditional love, took me to school every day, made my breakfast in the morning. I would come upstairs, my room was in the basement. I'm telling you, I had eggs, bacon, toast. The milk was in the freezer because I liked it cold. That's who my mom was and is. Now, you probably a lot of you know, she works for me now. I'm her boss. I know that may seem funny. She's worked for me for 21 years, so when I make her mad at work, it's really cool because I just go to her and I lean over and give her a hug and kiss and tell her I love her. And it's all good. She's not mad at me anymore. She didn't get mad at me very often, do you? Okay, good. Tell you about my dad. I'm about done. I'm not going to talk much longer, but I got to talk about my dad. He's a big reason I'm here. Great man. He passed in 1993, but he was the person I looked up to. He was the person I wanted to grow up to be. You know, he was the type of guy, he wasn't afraid to say I love you. When I was this height in the 7th or 8th grade, I'd walk through the kitchen, he'd say, "Come here and sit down on my lap, boy. I want to talk to you." I'm as big as him and I'm sitting on his lap and he's giving me a hug. I never forgot that. I'll tell you a quick story about him, and it relates to Daryl Andrews, fellow Hall of Famer. Everybody knows the story of Daryl passing. He was a senior and got spinal meningitis and passed. He was such a good friend of mine. I was a freshman when he was a senior, and I was the 6th man on that team. And here I'm playing varsity basketball with all these seniors, and you know, Daryl treated me so good. And I learned so much from that guy. He just took me in, and you know, I was a kid, man. I was 15 years old. I didn't have a driver's license. And Big Daryl, he's a star. I mean, everybody looked up to Daryl. And he took me in and became such a great friend of mine. And then, of course, you know the story where he got sick and he got spinal meningitis. So Daryl passed January 17th, 1983, the date I cannot forget. A couple weeks before that, a week or two before that, he was in the hospital at Mount Vernon. Now, I'm a freshman. I'm a kid, don't have a driver's license. My dad lived in Cutler. I'm in DuQuoin. Daryl's in the hospital in Mount Vernon. So I call up my dad. I said, "Dad, Daryl's sick, you know, and I want to go see him. I'm scared because I didn't know what was going to happen." And without hesitating, he said, "I'll be there in half an hour." This was like a Tuesday night. It was cold. It's January. It's crappy outside, right? Who wants to get out of their house? Be there in half an hour. Picks me up. We drive to Mount Vernon, 45 minutes away. I get to see Daryl, hold his hand, talk to him, go home, and I got to tell you, I've never forgot that. What I take from that is it's about your time. It's not about your money. It's all about your time. And I had a father who invested his time in me. I'm going to try to think of something funny so I wouldn't do that. I'll think of Peterson. All right, I'm good. Pete, all right, good. I'm good now. All right, I'm going to wrap up. My wife and kids, thank you. Can't look over there either. Couple things here I just want to share. Pete, you stole half my thunder.
Sorry. We didn't coordinate well enough.
Yeah, we didn't. And I need to read your notes. Couple things about what led me to stand here before you and be inducted into this Hall of Fame, which I am so honored to be in. 6th or 7th grade, I started having a little success in basketball. I think I'm good, and I'm getting a little overconfident. I know it's a big surprise. And I'm talking a little smack. And I was with my dad. And he looks at me, real serious like, he goes, son, let me tell you something. You might be the best in your grade. You might be the best in your school, but there's always somebody better. Man, I gotta go practice some more. I've never forgot that. There's always somebody better. You better be practicing. 8th grade basketball. I was in 8th grade. I was at the high school coach. You probably don't remember this, but I remember this. I'm sitting there in the gym, watching, I think it's a regional game, and I guess somebody else was playing. Coach Kraft walks by me. I'm in the 8th grade. Kid, man, I don't even think he knows who I am at the time. He reached over, tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, Monte, you got a good chance to play varsity next year. What? I'll be a freshman. That's just a kid, man. There's no way. Well, you know what? I hadn't opened my mind up yet to that possibility. So what you did for me was you opened my mind up that that was possible. Thank you for that. Thank you. Something else. You had the guts to play me in front of sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And in little towns like this, that's not always easy to do, but you had the guts to do it. Now, by the way, it did pay off because we won 2 sections. Another quick story. I remember talking to my dad the summer before my sophomore year. Pete already gave these stats, but sitting at the dad's house in Cutler, talking like we always do. We always had great talks. We'd sit up late at night and talk. And I'd just come off my freshman year. It was a strange year. Daryl's passing and, moving up to varsity. And my dad looks at me real matter-of-factly and he goes, hey, you're going to score 25 a game this year and get 10 rebounds. What? I'm just going to be a sophomore. You can't score that many points as a sophomore. Because as a freshman, averaged 13. So I was, in my mind, my mind hadn't opened up those possibilities yet. I'm thinking, I'll do 18 or 20, 8 or 9, we'll be a good team. Dad said, no, you'll get 25. Here's how you're going to do it. You're going to make 8 or 10 free throws a game. You're going to get a couple putbacks. You're going to hit these jump shots. That's 25. He had it all figured out. I averaged 26. He was right. I tell you that story, and I tell you a story about Coach Kraft because open up your mind to possibilities. When you limit yourself, you can't accomplish anything. Don't limit yourself. So, a couple of my dreams then were to be an All-Stater, to break Alan Cruz's record, and to play in the state tournament in Champaign. Didn't make it to Champaign. Made the other 2. That number of 2168, man, like Nick was talking about, I looked at that board every day. I was laser focused on it. And I literally, Alan, I wrote it down on a piece of paper and I taped it to my door. And all through high school said, be All-State, break the all-time scoring record. I didn't write your name on my door, but I did write your number. The night the record was broke, I share this story because it's a fun memory, especially for all this crew over here. It was February 14th, 1986, at home against Carlisle. I needed 9 points to break the record. Roadley and all the football players, they're over there with big signs saying 9, 8, 7. They're turning the signs down every time I score. And those guys were wild at the games. I didn't score in the first quarter. The second quarter kind of got hot, started scoring. So they're flipping them down, boom, boom, boom. The record-breaking shot was at the top of the key on a pass from Brian Mifflin. And my dad took a picture of it. Again, perfect picture. He was behind me. You can see the ball releasing. Phil Koontz, all 6'9" of him, was in the background under the basket. Just the perfect picture. I still have it to this day. I think that's why I like taking pictures so much. And the record was broke that night. They stopped the game, as Peterson said. And they gave me the ball and I gave it to my dad. It was such a great night, such a great memory, and why I'm here tonight. So I want to close with a little bit about that Spartan race thing that Pete talked about. I turned 50 this year. I know it's hard to believe, but I turned 50 this year. So I've set a goal of doing the trifecta in the Spartan race. And I'm going to share this with you because I think it relates to the conversation. And Pete mentioned I did one, and Wade Graskowitz did the one with me 2 weeks ago. We were in Arizona today, 8.3 miles, 25 obstacles, 90-degree heat, running through sand. Like it killed us, but we made it. I got 2 more to go this year to complete the trifecta. One's in Green Bay, one's in California. I share this with you because it's a goal. That's the only reason. It's not about me, it's not about a trifecta, it's because it's a goal. I'm standing here tonight because I set goals, and I worked tirelessly to achieve those goals. And everybody in here, I know Stan did it, Nick did it. We do that. So I want you to know that those of you like Coach Kraft, my dad, my friends that have encouraged me and have lifted me up and have allowed me to be here, that opened my mind to the possibility that you can play varsity as a freshman. You can score 25 a game as a sophomore. Now I do that in my own, I've got it in my head. You can do whatever you want to do. You just got to put your mind to it. Decide, commit, and then you succeed. And that's what it takes. So nights like this don't happen without having great people in your life. I'm the sum of the parts of all you here that are my friends and family. I'm humbled by this, I'm honored by this, and I'm proud of this. Thank you.